Hello and welcome to No Sevens Dice Club. College football predictions, week 11, the final month of college football before we get into championships and bowl games and everything else. Hard to believe there's really only a month left of college football, and then that's it. No more college football. I know we have a couple games after the new year, but I'm not really going to count those. I apologize for being gone for 2 weeks, guys. Hopefully you guys are probably making some money now that you don't have to rely on me after this crazy season. I was going to have some picks next week or on week 10. I just didn't get home enough time and take care of stuff. Just a lot of things piled up. But I did write down 3 things we learned for week 10. And it's kind of funny how it all plays out. The first thing I want to talk to you is sports betting is finally here in New Orleans, at the Harris in downtown New Orleans, Boomtown in Harvey, and the LaBerge in Baton Rouge, the Horseshoe up in Bossier City next to Shreveport. And today, as I am making this video, Wednesday, they just announced the LaBerge in Lake Charles has sports betting also. So things are finally picking up. We've only waited, 25 years it seems like, for sports betting to finally get here. More things are going to open up where they're going to do online with DraftKings and all that. But they're still working on the tax codes and going from there. Cincinnati getting robbed last week when they were, kept out of the Final Four. I really do believe Cincinnati, I know they can't compete with the big boys, but it definitely would have been nice to put them in there for at least 1 week. Michigan State, number 3. I was going to tell you guys last week, I think Michigan State's way overrated. I think they're going to get crushed by Purdue. And we all saw what happened there. So anyway, let's talk about this week. Bully picks. I really like Coastal Carolina, Bama, Clemson, Houston, Georgia, Texas, San Antonio, and Fresno. I'm throwing a lot of curveballs out there because our traditional ones that we like are not really playing a lot of teams. So, but those are who I'm picking to win straight out. I'm going to parlay all those, throw about $15, see if I can't make another $15 to cover this crazy gas that we're paying nowadays. And starting off with November 13th, is Mississippi State at Auburn. This is a really interesting game because there's rumors that Mike Leach from Mississippi State is on the hot seat. He really hasn't produced anything. I was kind of surprised that he came down to the SEC. Happy he did, to kind of pick things up. But whether he's on the hot seat or not, it seems like everybody's on the hot seat in the SEC. Definitely not a coaching destination if you like to keep a long-term career, unless you're Nick Saban. Bo Nix is playing really good football right now. I think he's going to continue to play good football. I'm really not going to dive too much into this. Auburn played really good against Texas A&M last week. I really like Auburn, so let's just go ahead and let's just pick Auburn minus 5.5. I know Mississippi State's going to score and stuff, but I'm comparing Mississippi State to how LSU would do against Auburn. And it was just a complete disaster. I'm kind of basing it on the same thing. I think Auburn is just going to overwhelm Auburn in that game. All right, next up is Oklahoma at Baylor. This is going to be a really good game. Baylor's putting together a pretty good thing. They did lose to TCU, I believe, last week. I was trying to watch all the games as much as possible. How about... is it Gary Patterson, I want to say? I know his last name is Patterson, the head coach for TCU, just up and retired. In the middle of the season, I don't know what in the world just happened. He was just like, peace out, bye, Felicia. So, super crazy. I didn't realize that he's been there since 2000. It was the first game since 2000 that Peterson was not there. So, hats off to a long career. I'm glad that you were able to make it. Hopefully not showing up in the SEC. So Oklahoma is minus 5.5 at Baylor. Just like I was saying, Rattler is on his way out if he's not officially out of Oklahoma. Oklahoma's still competing to get into that Final Four. They really need to beat up Baylor really bad, but Baylor's going to put up a really good fight in this. But Oklahoma needs the style points, and they need to show with a dominating win that they can somehow sneak into that Final Four. So they're going to be playing really tough to get in there, just like they always do at this time of the year. And they always find a way at the end of the year to play really tough. Dave Hernando, the head coach for Baylor, is putting together a really good season, continuing to build every single year. So this is going to be a close game, but I think Oklahoma is going to beat them by 10. So I'm going to take Oklahoma minus 5.5. All right, next we have is Georgia at Tennessee. Some can kind of call this a rival game. I think the Georgia-Florida game is more the rival. Georgia's minus 20. I'm surprised this is not more like minus 30. Now, Tennessee can score points. They have a very good offense this year. They can chunk the ball down the field pretty quickly. So this is going to be really interesting. Georgia has probably the most dominating defense this season, probably in the past few years that we've seen a defense play. I mean, it's just an old school SEC smash mouth. Take pride in just destroying your opponent, and making them go home with their tail in between their legs and crying to mama, pretty much defense that Georgia has. They take a lot of pride in not letting anybody score. So this is going to be really interesting to see how Tennessee's offensive line does with that dominating Georgia defensive line. To me, I think the defensive line is going to overwhelm that offensive line that Tennessee has. And I really do see Georgia coming in there and scoring some points. I do see Tennessee scoring at least 14 to 20 points. I kind of look at this game as a Kentucky game when Georgia was playing Kentucky a few weeks back in October. And they are going to score points. I think they're going to score about 14 points, but Georgia's going to score in the upper 30s. So it's going to be a very close game as far as the point spread goes, but Georgia's going to flat out win. But I really like Georgia. They've been making money every single week for the covers. So why not just keep on going with a hot hand? We're going to take Georgia minus 20. And then next up, we have Texas A&M is minus 5.5 points against Ole Miss. This is another great offensive battle. This game is going to decide pretty much the SEC West right here. Who's going to play in the SEC West? For the first time ever, we're not going to be talking about Alabama or LSU, mainly Alabama, going into the SEC Conference Championship on the West side. It's going to be Texas A&M if they pull this game off. Completely crazy. I know Alabama is rooting for Ole Miss so that way they can go back into the championship. If Texas A&M lose, they have a lot riding on this. And Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher as a head coach has his team going the right way. And they're going to have to play really good, dominating football at Ole Miss to beat to make sure that they can cash in their ticket to go to the SEC championship the first week of December. With that being said, I really like Texas A&M. Ole Miss and LSU was a very close game, and I kind of see that at the same level, but I think Texas A&M is a step above LSU and Ole Miss. Ole Miss struggled with a little bit of at first with LSU. So I don't know, we're not talking about totally two different teams. I just think Texas A&M is going to come in there ready to play because they know what's at stake, and it's only minus 5.5 points. If this was minus 10 points on Texas A&M, I would probably lean more towards Ole Miss. But Texas A&M, like I said, they have a chance for the first time ever to really go in there, play, and compete for the SEC Championship West and to play Georgia in the SEC Championship. So this is a huge deal for Texas A&M. So let's go ahead and take Texas A&M minus 5.5. And some of the rumors is that Jimbo Fisher is going to be heading to LSU. Who knows? I mean, they even have in some of the sports betting places, you can actually bet on who do you think is going to be the next head coach for LSU. Completely insane. Speaking of LSU, Arkansas is going down to LSU for the Battle of the Boot. This is the big, huge gold trophy. If you ever seen it, it's pretty amazing just how big that trophy is. It's the state of Arkansas, and Louisiana, and it's, the shape of a boot. That's the reason why they call it the Battle of the Boot. LSU's been a dominating team in this rival for the past few years. Arkansas was riding a hot hand in the beginning of this season. If you remember, I was picking Arkansas to beat Texas A&M, which they did. Arkansas to beat Rice, which they did, which was a very close game in the fourth quarter. And then Arkansas turned it on. And then they went into Ole Miss, and they had them to, they came back at the end of the fourth quarter with only 2 seconds left. Instead of kicking the field goal to win or to tie the game to send it into overtime, Arkansas's head coach, he goes ahead and he tries for the two-point conversion, fails the two-point conversion. They lose with no time left, and instead of tying it to go play in overtime, they lost. And it seems like ever since that Ole Miss loss, the team just fell apart. They lost that momentum. They were doing something really special this year, and it just seemed like that just took all the wind out of their sails. LSU last week played Alabama. LSU took Alabama to the wire last week, and it was a very close game. It might not have looked like it, but LSU was probably the most competitive we've seen them all season long, and the most competitive Alabama LSU game since 2019. But if you go back for the past 10 years and don't get rid of 2019, and if you get rid of 2019 and 2011, LSU's been pretty much having the doors blown off of them with Alabama. LSU last week played a great defensive game. If their offense could have been clicking, they would have beat Alabama. I was really proud of my team, but I'm not here to say that. I'm here to say that I think LSU is going to handle business with Arkansas. Ed Orgeron, he's leaving at the end of the season, but those players are playing really tough for him, and they want to send him out with some kind of high note as much as they can. So I really do like LSU. I'm going to take LSU plus 2 point. I can't talk no more. LSU plus 2.5 points. There we go. Finally got it. All right. Enough talking about the SEC. Now we're going to talk about the Battle of Florida. And I know you guys are going to send me a ton of mail, but before you guys do, I'm talking about North Florida versus South Florida. I'm not talking about Florida and Florida State, which is the big Florida game. I'm talking about Miami, Florida at Florida State. Miami, Florida is minus 2.5. They're having more problems in the math book right now down in South Florida. I can't understand. It just doesn't seem like they can close out games for whatever reason. There's just something missing. And you can't say it's the head coach. You can't say it's just something with these players. They just don't want to play. They just can't. I just don't know what it is. It just seems like the players just don't want to play. But they do want to play. You see the effort there, but it's just they can't close out these games. Florida State is like a roller coaster. They're up and down too. I mean, this is going to be a really crazy game. If you ever want to watch a wild, crazy game, this will be the one to watch. But Florida State is trending a little bit better than Miami, Florida, and this could be a complete disaster. This is a complete wild card. And with a minus 2.5 point, just like LSU, it's kind of a pick 'em. Who do you think is going to win this game? And for me, I like Florida State in this. I think Florida State's going to play really well. They played really well against Notre Dame in the very first weeks of their season. And, they had that up and down loss a couple of games. But I think they're starting to trend in the right direction. I think they're starting to get, I can't talk tonight. They're finally going to get moving in the right direction. Is it too late in the season? Who knows? Everybody's trying to vie for a bowl game, whether it's a toilet bowl or the oatmeal bowl or whatever ones they want to call them this year. The Charmin Bowl. I'm not kidding. The rumors is that they're coming out with a Charmin Bowl game. I've heard it all, guys. So anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up. It's 14 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and take Florida State, but it's whoever you like in this, or don't even pick this game at all. But this is going to be my crazy game for the week. I'm taking Florida State plus 2.5. But I might buy up that point and take Florida State plus 3. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And why not? I'll just leave it. I was going to say I'm going to take LSU +3, but I'll leave it +2.5. So Florida State +3. All right, so we're at 15 minutes, right where I like to conclude my my video. So I bought a half a point for Florida State +3. You can buy that half a point, so that way it's LSU +3. That's a smart move to do. So that way, you know, worst case scenario is that if there's a field goal at the end, you don't lose. You just tie it and you just break even on your picks. That's a smart way to do it for your money. But guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like I said, our record is 17 wins, 23 losses, and 1 tie. So let's rock out November. Let's see if we can't get to a little bit above average for the season. But thank you guys for tuning in. I have a craps video coming out to you within the next couple of days. So I'll talk to you on that craps video. Talk to you later, guys. Good luck out there.